What's going on, guys? It's your boy, excuse me, Dom Kemp here, and it's been a while since I've done a podcast, guys. It's been, let me look at the date. Oh gosh, this is gonna be bad, and a lot of you guys are probably like, why isn't he uploading? Well, guys, here's the thing: we are going to be changing that. I know I keep saying that, and the last time I uploaded was in April, so that was over 2 months ago, guys. I apologize for that, but we will definitely be uploading as consistently as possible. Yes, the World Cup has already started, and guys, a couple matches that have happened today was one, Colombia versus Japan, where Japan won 2-1. We also had, of course, Russia versus, I believe it was Egypt. Yes, Russia versus Egypt, where Russia ended up winning. The host nation, 6 points in 2 games. Yes, it's not the hardest group, but definitely Russia is showing up, guys. And just because I've been gone for so long, guys, I will be making this a extremely long podcast. So hopefully you all who are soccer fans and enjoy a soccer commentary slash soccer information, hopefully you all listen all the way through. You could be doing something while you're listening, such as cooking, cleaning, whatever, playing video games, just to listen. That's the main thing. That would be awesome if you guys could stay in support for that. But guys, of course, I know I need to earn you guys' trust back. We do have 48 subscribers, so welcome to the channel. Those new people who have subscribed as of recently, I appreciate it. Welcome to the podcasting channel. We have a variety of sports in here. I will also be talking about the NBA possibly tomorrow if something happens, because in July, guys, in the free agency, it should be interesting to see what is going to happen. But other than that, let's jump straight into what I want to talk about, guys. This is on ESPN, so you guys can read this article for yourself. It is on the FIFA World Cup page. And it's by a guy with the last name Barnwell's top 25 young players at the World Cup, guys. We're going to see who he picks as young players and seeing who is number one at the end. Of course, I haven't read this article, so guys, we are both experiencing this at the same time. But first and foremost, if you would like the podcast, if you like this sort of thing, and subscribe if you do want to be the subscriber number 50, which I'm trying to go for right now. But other than that, let's jump straight into it, guys. World Cup's best age-adjusted young stars: Mbappe, Jesus, and more. So first off, in the title of it, guys, one of them is Kylian Mbappe, and the other one from Manchester City is Gabriel Jesus, guys. So he is a great striker, both great strikers for a very young age. But let's jump straight into it. Let's see what he is talking about. So the article is by Bill Barnwell of ESPN. For countries around the world, getting to the World Cup is half the battle. The same is true for their players. Even before ever suiting up for a match, being named to a 23-man World Cup roster is remarkable. No, is a remarkably accomplishment and a sign that you have arrived. For young players, it's also a great indicator of stardom to come. Take Ronaldo, for example. While Brazil was winning the World Cup in America during the summer of 1994, a 17-year-old Ronaldo was sitting on a scorching hot benches around the U.S. behind Bebeto and Romario, as he was still based in Brazil at Cruzeiro. In a pre-internet world, the inexperienced striker was still mostly a mystery and didn't see a minute during the tournament. Ronaldo Mania launched almost immediately after that summer. He signed for PSV shortly after the tournament and scored 35 goals in 36 games before moving to Barcelona, where Ronaldo won the European Golden Boot. First and foremost, guys, this is not Cristiano Ronaldo. This is the original Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo. Those of you who are like, 1994, what are you talking about? Okay, so we continue on. A 22-year-old Ronaldo was one of the focal points of the next World Cup, and his lethargic performance in the final after a seizure sunk Brazil's chances in France. Not every player lurking near the bottom of a World Cup roster turns into Ronaldo, of course, but if you are looking for players who are likely to develop into stars in the years to come, you can do far worse than finding the youngest players at any World Cup. It gets even better if you account for the quality of the team, given the lesser sides are more likely to hand a spot to younger, more inexperienced players. Ronaldo breaking into Brazil team at 17 meant a lot more than if he had broken into the Ireland or Saudi Arabia teams at the same time. In 2014, I used the standard score methodology, hopefully I said that correctly, to adjust every player's age for the average age of their teammates and identified the contributors whose arrival at the World Cup was unlikeliest. It's a group that included future stars like Stankovic, Christian Eriksen, and Kaká and Luka Modric before they had left their domestic leagues. 4 years later, the 20-side adjusted youngest players have unsurprisingly gone in different directions. Players like Julian Green, Adnan Januzaj, Divock Origi have failed to live up to expectations. Others like El-Reza, Jahan Mubaksh, oh gosh, guys, I'm sorry, and William Carvalho have grown into budding superstars without yet moving into one of the bigger European leagues. Already notable players like Nkoke and Neymar will be making return visits to the World Cup this time round. Naturally, now that the World Cup is underway, we can perform the same analysis for the teams of 2018. This list is in order of team-adjusted age and not quality. Kylian Mbappe comes behind Abdullah Al-Kalabri. Hopefully I said that correct. There's a lot of hard names in soccer, guys. I apologize if many of you are just cringing right now. I'm so sorry. On this list solely because of their ages, and while Mbappe is obviously more likely to make an impact in the weeks and years to come, we're actually trying to find players whose presence on rosters and in Russia might not be as obvious as those listed in a million other pieces on young contributors you've read over the past few weeks. Let's run through the 25 youngest team-adjusted players at the World Cup, starting with a Spanish right-back who wasn't on anybody's radar 2 years ago. It is number 25, Alvaro Odriozola. He is a defender, age 22. His country is Spain. His club is Real Sociedad in the La Liga. Odriozola's rise from Sociedad's reserve team to the Spanish national team has been meteoric. Oh gosh, guys, I'm sorry. The 22-year-old only made his first team debut for I'm not going to say their nickname because it's way too hard to say, in January of 2017. But by the time February rolled around, the academy graduate had firmly entrenched himself as the first choice right back for then manager Eusebio Sacristán. After 21 appearances in La Liga and 3 caps for the Spanish under-21 team, Odriozola started for the full national team in a 3-0 qualifying victory over Albania. First choice right back Dani Carvajal missed that match with a viral infection, and while he remains the likely starter for Spain this summer, the Madrid star did leave the Champions League final in tears with a hamstring injury. Carvalho was fit enough to make the 23-man roster for Russia, but if he can't remain healthy, Odriozola may be thrust into a huge role on the biggest stage amid reports of a possible €40 million move to Madrid. Russia might not be the only place Odriozola takes over for Carvalho. No, for Carvajal. Jeez. Number 24, Jan Bednarek. He is a defender as well. His age is 22, his country is Poland, and his club is Southampton in the English Premier League. Signed in August with a likely view to eventually replacing Virgil van Dijk, Bednarek was forced to watch most of a difficult Saints season from the bench. The £6 million signing made just 2 cup appearances before being forced into the starting lineup after Jack Stevens was suspended. Bednarek contributed a goal against Chelsea on his Premier League debut and ended up starting 5 matches under new manager Mark Hughes, helping to win 8 points as Southampton miraculously stayed up. Which, those of you who don't know what that means, they didn't get relegated to the division below the Premier League. With Bednarek's international experience limited to 1 substitute appearance for several minutes against Kazakhstan, it looked like the 22-year-old was likely to spend his time in Russia on the sidelines. That changed. Monaco defender Kamil Glik I think that's how you say it, injured his shoulder, attempting an overhead kick in training on June 4th. Glick had recovered enough to keep his place in the 23. And Stuttgart defender Marcin Kaminsky is likely to have the first chance at replacing Glick. But Bednarek impressed in a 2-2 draw with Chile before the tournament. He might yet find his way into the lineup. Number 23. Now, this is a big name, guys, and many of you who watch football understand that this kid is going to be amazing. He's already amazing, but he's going to be even more amazing. Marco Asensio. I don't know why I'm calling him a kid. I am 3 years younger than him. Okay. Marco Asensio, forward. Age 22, country, Spain, club Real Madrid in the La Liga Santander. Although the rumors that Madrid have rejected a pair of 131 million sterling offers, or 131 sterling, million sterling offers for their burgeoning, I don't know how to say it. Why do people use these words? Star are likely absurd. Asensio's role with Madrid is likely to grow if Cristiano Ronaldo and or Gareth Bale leave the club. The Mallorca product had begun the World Cup behind Isco and David Silva, but his versatility and ability to impact games as a substitute made him a must for the Spanish team. Number 22, Kylian Mbappe, forward, age 19, country France, club Monaco in the Ligue 1 in France. Or Monaco, if you want to say it that way too. Technically still a Monaco player in advance of a permanent move to Paris Saint-Germain, Mbappe contributes 17 goals and 11 assists to the PSG attack during their dominant Ligue 1 campaign and less successful run in the Champions League. He requires no introduction, but if it's a surprise that he isn't higher on the list, you can blame Mbappe's teammates. Didier Deschamps is taking 8 players aged 23 or younger to Russia. The average age of France's players is just 26 years old, making them the second youngest team in the tournament behind Nigeria. Another player, guys, number 21, Bassem Sarafi, winger, age 20, country Tunisia, club is Nice in France. Linked with Arsenal and Leicester City before the tournament, Sarafi has only yet started 10 games in the Ligue 1 for Nice, with just 2 of those appearances lasting the full 90. 14 of Sarafi's appearances in the league this season lasted 15 minutes or less, which is most likely his role at this tournament. An injury time winner like the one he scored against Toulouse this season might make him a national hero. Number 20, now this is a tough name. He is actually from Croatia, so please bear with me. Number 20, Duje Kaleta Kar, the defender. Age 21, country Croatia, club Red Bull Salzburg in Austria. No outfield player at this World Cup was on the pitch for more minutes this season than Kaleta Kar, who racked up 5,117 minutes as Salzburg won the Austrian Bundesliga and made an impressive trek to the semifinals of the Europa League. The 21-year-old made his international debut in the recent 3-0 loss to Brazil, so while he isn't likely to feature much in Russia, Kaleta Kar is probably on his way to a bigger club over the summer. Could he be the next Salzburg player to move up the Red Bull ranks to Leipzig? Next up, number 19, Francis Uzoho, goalkeeper, age 19, country Nigeria, club Deportivo in Spain. Nigeria's hopes in Russia may rest on a former forward with all 30 career games to his name. The 6'5" Uzoho is a rare player with more international caps than appearances in the top division, as the Aspire Academy graduate made 2 starts for Deportivo in October before spending the rest of the season behind Ruben Martinez, with Vincent Inyama retired from international football and buried on Lille's reserves, and Wolves' Carl Ikem battling leukemia. An opportunity opened up for Uzoho. With the domestic league failing to produce competitive keepers, Nigeria's turning to one of the least experienced players in the tournament to fill a critical role. Uzoho technically won't be the least experienced number 1 in the World Cup, given that England will be starting Jordan Pickford after just 3 caps, but the 24-year-old Pickford has 185 senior appearances to his name. Few players will be under more pressure in Russia than Uzoho. The early returns are inclusive, as Uzoho didn't make a single save in the 2-0 opening loss to Croatia, who scored via an own goal and a Luka Modric penalty. Next up, number 18, Albert Gudmundsson, forward, age 20, country Iceland, club PSV Eindhoven, Netherlands, aka the Eredivisie. Genes aren't everywhere, but when you serve as the fourth consecutive generation of your family to play for the Icelandic national team, it's easy to understand why expectations are high for Gudmundsson. The 20-year-old earned his way onto the team by scoring a hat-trick in a January friendly victory over Indonesia, and while he spent most of his time playing for PSV's reserve team in the Dutch second division, Gudmundsson contributed 2 assists in 176 minutes for PSV's first team this season. He won't be more than a last-ditch attacking threat in Russia, but the former Arsenal and Liverpool trialist has a bright future. Next up, finally, a name I can say properly. 17, Jose Luis Rodriguez, forward, age 19, country Panama, club is Gent or Ghent in Belgium. I don't know how to say that. I think it is Gent or Ghent. It's one of those, but let's do this. One of the most anonymous players at this year's World Cup, the 19-year-old Rodriguez was signed away from Churolillo in the Panamanian top flight by Ghent, where he has yet to make his first team debut. Rodriguez tore a knee ligament in January of 2017 while training with the Panama under-20 team, but flashed enough in 106 minutes of friendlies against Northern Ireland and Norway to earn a spot on Panama's inaugural World Cup squad. He was a surprise starter in the opening match against Belgium, but did little before being substituted after 63 minutes. Next up, from Tottenham, I know who this is, number 16, Davinson Sanchez, a defender, age 22, country Colombia, club Tottenham Hotspur, England, Premier League. Or English Premier League EPL, yada. 4 years ago, Sanchez was an 18-year-old converted central midfielder with a handful of experience for Atlético Nacional in the Colombian top flight. His breakthrough really didn't come until 2016 when Sanchez played for the Colombian Olympic team and excelled in the Copa Libertadores. In the past 2 years, he's made it into the Europa League final with Ajax and earned a 36 million sterling move to Spurs, where he played well enough to help push fellow Ajax product Toby Alderweireld out the door this summer. Not bad for a player who will only turn 22 2 days before the competition begins. So I'm guessing that this person who wrote this article made this before the World Cup, and it's just being posted now because it took so long. Number 15, Kasper Dolberg, striker, age 20, country Denmark, club Ajax in the Netherlands. Here we go, let's see. Oh, here it is. Speaking of the Tottenham to Ajax pipeline, rumors suggest that Spurs may be targeting Dolberg to give star striker Harry Kane some help. It might represent an opportunity to buy low after a difficult injury-hit season for the Danish striker. In 2016-2017, Dolberg scored 23 goals in 45 appearances as Ajax finished second in the Eredivisie and runners-up in the Europa League, but a tear in Dolberg's foot cost him 4 months and limited him to just one start after the new year. Competition up front limited Dolberg to just 50 minutes during this qualifying cycle, so he's likely to serve as a high-impact reserve in Russia. Number 14, Trent Alexander-Arnold, a defender, age 19, country England, club Liverpool. The local boy done good. Alexander-Arnold emerged during the second half of the 2017-2018 season as a mainstay at right back for Liverpool during their run to the Champions League final. The 19-year-old hadn't even debuted for the under-21 team when the Premier League season started in August and wasn't a regular in Liverpool's side until the festive season, but after a man of the match performance against Swansea on December 27th, Alexander-Arnold earned Jurgen Klopp's trust and became a first-team regular. He followed by earning his first senior cap earlier this month. Alexander-Arnold was able to dislodge an injured Nathaniel Clyne from both the Liverpool starting 11 and the English team. Pushing aside Manchester City star Kyle Walker might be a tougher task. And Gareth Southgate appears likely to play Walker as part of a three-man central defense unit in Russia, which he has, while Walker would remain ahead of Alexander-Arnold as the first-team right-back in a four-man back line. His best chance of impacting a young England side in Russia, barring an injury to Walker, is a pacey substitute at wing-back. Next up, number 13, Edson Alvarez, utility player. So he doesn't have a proper position. I never heard of that. A utility player. Age 20, country Mexico, Club America in Mexico. That's crazy. While 22-year-old star winger Irving Lozano is the young Mexican most likely to turn heads in this World Cup, it's remarkable for a player as young as Alvarez to even force his way onto a World Cup squad. Over the past 40 years, Mexico has sent just 3 players under the age of 21 to the biggest stage in football. Francisco Javier Cruz nearly scored a winner in the quarterfinals against Germany in 1986, while 2006 saw the debuts of Andres Guardado and I'm not going to say his name, not going to say his first name, but you guys already know him as the goalkeeper Ochoa, who had combined for 237 caps since. Both Guardado and Ochoa will be in the Mexican team this summer, though Alvaro's position isn't quite as clear, given that he's lined up as a center back, right back, and defensive midfielder in the past for El Tri. No player under the age of 21 has fielded more minutes in Liga MX over the past 2 seasons than Alvarez, 3,863, and while Alvarez didn't have the best season with America, it wasn't a surprise that Juan Carlos Osorio turned to the versatility Alvarez as his first substitute during Sunday's remarkable 1-0 win over Germany. That was a good game. Okay, here we go. Number 12, Abdullah Al-Kalabri. I think I said that right. Midfielder. I don't think I did. Age 21. Country, Saudi Arabia. Club Al-Shabaab in Saudi Arabia. A surprise addition to the Saudi side, Al-Kalabri has just 4 senior caps and friendlies to his name. The 21-year-old has started 15 times this season for Al-Shabaab in the Saudi Premier League and represented Saudi Arabia at youth levels and wasn't included as one of the 9 Saudi players sent to play in La Liga this spring before the World Cup. Oh gosh, here we go, a Polish player. Why? Number 11, Dawid Konaki, forward, age 21, country Poland, club Sampdoria, Italy. That is in the Calcio A. With Robert Lewandowski turning 30 in August, Poland will likely be looking for a striker to emerge alongside the oft-injured Milik and serve as the future of the national team. Konaki's presence in the World Cup 23 suggests that he's their current top candidate. The 6'1" Konaki scored 21 goals over 4 years for Lech Poznan before moving to Italy last summer. Fabio Quagliarella, 35, kept Konaki out of the team by scoring 19 goals in Serie A. He's 35 and scored 19 goals in Serie A. Good gracious. But Konaki chipped in with 5 goals across 811 minutes. He's unlikely to see much time in Russia. Well, that is disappointing. But number 10, Hwang Hee-chan, forward, age 22, country South Korea, club Red Bull Salzburg in Austria. One of the many players who developed at feeder club Liefering before making the step up to Salzburg, Hwang scored one of the 4 goals in the Austrian club's stunning second-leg comeback over Lazio in April. Injuries limit Hwang to 10 starts and 5 goals in the Austrian Bundesliga this year, although the Korean international scored 12 goals and 20 top-flight appearances the previous year. Hwang could offer some much-needed help in the final third to Tottenham star Son Heung-min, whom he may soon join at club level given that Spurs and Borussia Dortmund are reportedly weighing up bids. He started and played the full 90 minutes in Korea's 1-0 loss to Sweden. 9. Christian Pavon, forward, age 22, country Argentina, club Boca Juniors in Argentina. If you are thinking about moving to Barcelona, it might help to send your resume and get a letter of recommendation from Lionel Messi. The global superstar reportedly wants his new partner to look past interest from Europe's leading lights and make a switch to Barca. and his $36 million buyout clause shouldn't stop any major club from adding one of South America's most talented forwards to their roster. Pavon led the Argentine Superliga with 11 assists this season, 1 year after finishing second in the same category behind Marcos Acuna. The sheer depth of attacking firepower Argentina has in reserve might prevent Pavon from making a dent on the score sheet in Russia, but he could be laying in wait as the long-term replacement for Angel Di Maria. Indeed, Pavon came on as a substitute for Di Maria during Argentina's 1-1 draw with Iceland. Next up, number 8, Ismaila Sarr, winger, age 20, country Senegal, club Stade Rennais, or just Rennais in France. Which is crazy because I got to see him play this morning. He is good. It's been an eventful couple of years for the skillful Sarr, who was playing in Senegal as recently as 2016. The 5'11" winger moved to Metz as an 18-year-old, and while most players in this situation might have spent a year or two in the reserves, Sarr entered the starting lineup at the beginning of September and never looked back. He racked up nearly 2,000 minutes as an 18-year-old in Ligue 1, scoring 5 goals for a Metz side that only scored 39 times during the season. While his success as a teenager, who likely overshadowed by Mbappe, is impressive, his impressive season earned Sarr a 15.5 million sterling move to Rennes, only for Sarr to tear an ankle tendon in September and miss the remainder of 2017. Sarr made it back to back in January and has been healthy since, although he hasn't made it through 90 minutes in any of Senegal's pre-tournament friendlies. Having only made his debut for the senior team in September of 2016, Sarr only has 11 caps to his name, but his goal in the pre-tournament draw with Croatia showed how he can impact a Landguild game with one well-timed run and finish. He'll likely offer support as a substitute for Keita Balde and Sadio Mane in Russia. Number 7, Daniel Arzani, forward, age 19, country Australia, club Melbourne City in Australia. As the only player in the tournament born in 1999, hey, that's what I'm talking about. Australia's Arzani is also the youngest player at this year's World Cup. There was a question of whether new Australian manager Bert van Marwijk might opt for more experienced players and leave Arzani at home, but the A-League Young Footballer of the Year was able to parlay a breakout season for Melbourne City into a trip to Russia. It might not be his last excursion in Europe either, given that the chatter around Arzani compares him to Harry Kewell. I don't know who that is. The 19-year-old, actually, you know what? Let's look him up. I mean, we have time, am I right? Like, most of you guys are just chilling and listening to this and listen to me struggling and yeah, and all that stuff. Okay, Harry Kewell. Who is this guy? Let's see. I'm going to type him in. Kewell, perfect. Okay, let's see. He is a 39-year-old Australian. Harry Kewell is an Australian football coach and former player who is head coach of League 2 club Crawley Town. Kewell played for Leeds United, Liverpool, Galatasaray, Melbourne Victory, Al Gharavi, and Melbourne Heart. Leeds was named PFA Young Player of the Year in 2000, and this league has received. Okay, well, now I know who he is. Awesome. Okay, next up. Oh, yeah. The 19-year-old scored his first goal for Australia in a pre-tournament victory over Hungary. Although it was truthfully on a team effort that should have been stopped, it's probably more telling than Arzani came on, almost immediately launched a shot at the keeper, something a bland Australia team desperately needs. Australia only scored 16 goals in the third round of the Asian qualification, needed extra time to score a third goal over 2 legs and win a playoff with Syria, and drew 0-0 at home with Honduras before finally breaking through with a Mile Jednak hat-trick and San Pedro Sula. A country that relied heavily on goals from the 33-year-old Jednak and 38-year-old Tim Cahill throughout qualifying needs a young attacking threat to emerge. Arzani scored once against Hungary and helped create a second. Van Marwijk threw Arzani on in the 84th minute as Australia tried to come back against France, but the exciting young talent may already be more than a roll of the dice. Next up, number 6, Giovanni Lo Celso, midfielder, country Argentina, age 22, club Paris Saint-Germain. Well, there you go right there. Ready, set, go. Pavon might be the long-term replacement for Di Maria, but Lo Celso's role with the Argentine team might not be quite as clear. One thing is for sure, though, he's not going anywhere. Lo Celso is too talented to stay out of the side, as evidenced by the fact that the 22-year-old broke into Unai Emery's PSG. Wow, what kind of name? I'm sorry, guys. I am just butchering names left, right, and center, and I know that those of you who are paying attention will know that. PSG side over the 2017-2018 season. The question is whether he'll play as more of a deep-line playmaker for Argentina or serve instead as a more of a defensive midfielder to protect the Argentine back line. Lo Celso was on the bench for Argentina's 1-1 draw with Iceland, but there are already rumors that he'll come into the team at the expense of Lucas Biglia for Thursday's match with Croatia. Next up, I know who this is. Number 5, Yuri Tielemans. Midfielder, age 21, country Belgium, club Monaco in France. It's little surprise that Monaco turned to Tielemans for stability and as a replacement for Bakayoko in midfield this past season, given that the Anderlecht youth project had already racked up 185 appearances and captained Belgium's biggest club team before moving to France. Tielemans became the first player since Vincent Kompany to win Belgian Young Player of the Year twice in consecutive seasons, and like Kompany, he added a Belgian Player of the Year award to the collection before moving abroad. Tielemans did struggle a bit to find his place in Monaco. He missed 7 weeks with a knee injury and played in a rotation which was obviously unfamiliar for a player who suited up every week for Anderlecht. He might have also been pushed into a more defensive role than his skill suggests, given his ability on the ball. That may prove to limit his role in Russia, given that Belgium hardly lacks for creative midfielders with Eden Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne in the team. Roberto Martinez says Tielemans is the future of the Belgian team. Tielemans unsurprisingly thinks he's the present too. Well, dang, man. He is both. He's the future and the present. He's the present and the future. Next up, number 4. Gabriel Jesus, striker, age 21. He's only 21. Good Lord. 21, country Brazil, club Manchester City, England. I hate Manchester City, but that's another story. One of the brightest young stars in football, Jesus has scored 20 goals in 2,323 minutes for City during his first 2 seasons in the Premier League. He's followed that with 10 national team goals in just 1,299 minutes, including 7 during South American World Cup qualifying. It seems likely that he'll start ahead of Roberto Firmino with an already lengthy injury history, the only thing seemingly keeping Jesus from making an immediate impact. Number 3, Moussa Wagu, defender, age 19, country Senegal, club Eupen in Belgium. A product of the Aspire Academy's branch in Senegal, Wagu moved to the Aspire-owned Eupen 2 years ago and carved out a starting role this season. He's perhaps more notable for his international work, which includes a run to the semifinals of the Under-20 World Cup in 2015 at just 16 years of age. Wagu is also the only player from the Senegalese team to make the jump up to the World Cup within 3 years, having already accrued 9 senior caps. It looked like Wagu would be the reserve right back in Russia behind Bordeaux's Youssef Sabaly, but when Aliou Cisse named his team for the opening match against Portugal, there were spots in the starting 11 for both Sabaly and Wagu. Next up, number 2, we're dropping down, boys and girls. Ian Smith, defender, age 20, country Costa Rica, club, Norrköping in Sweden. I probably butchered that too. Not many players make this move from Costa Rica to Sweden, but Smith first went on loan with Hammarby before signing a permanent deal to swap the Costa Rican top flight for Norrköping. Smith featured for Costa Rica in the 2015 Under-17 World Cup and again in 2017 Under-20 World Cup, but his most notable work at club level before Sweden came in the 2017 CONCACAF League, where he helped Santos de Guapiles to a runner-up spot. His parents allege that Smith was approached to play for Qatar before deciding to stick with Costa Rica, where he's garnered 3 senior caps in 2018 as a substitute. Smith is the youngest player in the Costa Rican team by nearly 4 years and one of just 2 players under 25, so while he's likely to play a reserve role behind Celtic's Christian Gamboa, this time around Smith should figure in the side for years to come. And finally, we have a South Korean number 1, Lee Seung-woo. midfielder. Age 20, country South Korea, club Verona in Italy. Weirdly, the youngest side-adjusted player in the tournament has been on the radar of Korean fans for nearly a decade. What? How old is he again? He's 20. Oh my gosh. Lee has been the great hope of South Korea since age 12, 8 years ago, when he joined Barcelona. 4 years later, he took MVP honors at the Asian Under-16 Championship, declaring that it would be easy to beat Japan before scoring 2 goals to send them home. Lee followed that by featuring in the 2015 Under-17 World Cup and 2017 Under-20 World Cup, although he didn't hit the same lofty heights there. Along the way, though, Lee's development stalled, in part because the transfer ban levied against Barcelona kept Lee out of competitive football until he turned 18. With no clear path to the first team in Barcelona, Lee followed the path of many young La Masia products and left the club on a deal that leaves Barcelona the option to buy Lee back if he excels at his new home. Lee found his way to Hellas Verona in Italy, but he endured another difficult season. He played just 166 minutes, though the end of March serving as an occasional substitute as Verona unsuccessfully battled against relegation in April and May, though Fabio Peschicha, goodness gracious, gave Lee 6 straight appearances to end the season, and by the final 2 matches, Lee made an impact. He scored his first goal for Verona with a brilliant first-time volley against Milan. In the following match, given his first start with the club, Lee chipped in with a .45 XG expected goals and lasted the full 90 minutes. The signs of life were enough to get Lee into the senior national team squad, and while it seemed likely he would be one of the provisional players axed before the final, 23, Lee delivered an impressive performance, mixing with Sun against Honduras, lasting 81 minutes before being substituted. He played 70 minutes in the ensuing friendlies against Bosnia and Herzegovina and Bolivia. Suggesting that Shin Tae-young sees a role for Lee in Russia, it's difficult to imagine that Lee would have the fitness to repeatedly play 90 minutes for the national team this month, but as a creative foil on the left side of the sun, Lee would be a valuable substitute for a Korean team lacking in firepower after their star Tottenham attacker. Well, guys, that's a wrap. That is a wrap. It's about 37 minutes long. Not that bad, actually. But, guys, that's interesting how that works, guys. And that's very interesting how this person is Ryder, I believe it is, ended up naming the top 25 young talents that will be future stars, a.k.a. best age-adjusted young stars. That's crazy, guys. That's crazy. But other than that, guys, if you guys enjoyed this podcast, and if you like long podcasts like this, guys, just me messing up names and trying to figure out what I'm even talking about, let me know in the comment section down below, guys. I will do my best to be as consistent as possible. I have a lot of things on my plate, as always, as I keep on saying that, and then I don't upload for another 2 months. But, guys, that won't happen again, guys. At least I will upload at least once a week. So if that isn't working either, well, that's a problem. But guys, I will try to upload as much as I can, especially with all this crazy news coming out with the NBA and of course the World Cup happening. And if there are any more World Cup articles that you guys want me to read, let me know in the comment section down below. Send me a link and I will be sure to click on them and put you in the next podcast, especially shouting you out. That's what I mean by put you in the next podcast, is shouting you out, and then I will know who that was. But other than that, thank you guys for listening. Those of you who like the World Cup and are excited for what is to come, a lot of nice games, especially tomorrow where Portugal is going to be playing, as well as, of course, Iran is also going to be playing, guys. So those are going to be interesting matches. But other than that, thank you for listening, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace, guys. Wow.